And I guess I learned to cook from him because I had a Seder of 6 people a couple of weeks ago, and I made enough food for 25, although I only invited 6 to my Seder. You know,
he was definitely a good cook. I remember him, he's very creative, not only with dancing. So every time we had a school project, he did our school projects. I mean, I had to make a model of the Israeli Knesset, and he built it all night. He built it out of like cardboard and toothpicks, and he painted it, and it was a perfect, it was like a perfect miniature of the Knesset. We had to make all these projects that we did for school. He did them. He did all the artwork on all the projects. As Michal said, he didn't have a 9-to-5 job, so he could stay up all night doing our projects. In the morning, we'd wake up and our project was done. We used to do lots of work for camp. We used to get to camp early and cut out things and put posters on the walls and cut out dance figures and cut out letters. And we used to go like a day, even before Eileen, we used to cut and glue, and then we went off to college. I went to Israel, Michal went to college, and then you ended up cutting and gluing and pasting.
Oh my God, my entire house was a factory.
And our house was a factory, and then it moved to your house and your basement.
This took place at Hora Shalom sometime in the mid 80s, and I was dancing next to Irit. I was dancing, holding her hand, and we were doing Debka Irit, which I think he had taught that year. And so we're going along doing Debka Irit and having a great time. But in the middle of it, Irit turns to me with kind of a sad expression on her face and says, "Michal got a better dance."
But that's funny, Larry, because Michal always said, "Sure, my sister got a Debka and I got a prayer."
The grass is always greener over there on the other dance camp.
Eileen, you tell the story about.
So obviously, before Moshe did any dance, we used to practice it and go over it and make sure that we all knew all the pieces of it. So we used to record it as we were working on it so that we wouldn't forget what was being done. I had probably Donnie videotaping Debka Gid in the basement, and there were cabinets behind us. I mean, it had no name at the time. As we were going through the dance, we heard like a big popping noise, whatever it was. I thought he had kicked one of the cabinet doors closed, and all of a sudden he stopped dancing, and I was like, what was it? And he actually tore his Achilles tendon on that dance in that step moving back. Gid, it's the Achilles tendon, and he named the dance after his accident, which was horribly caught on video. And now it's like really like, you know what's coming, you know what's going to come, and you hear it, you go, but that was it. If you want to see anybody tearing their Achilles tendon, I'm sure you have the video.
Can you speak about Ramot?
Ramot was named after my first apartment that in Israel. I just lived in Ramot. It's the name of the neighborhood. The neighborhood didn't exist when he lived in Israel. It was Jordan. He named the dance. The music is Lebanese. I think it was the first dance to be danced of his in Israel after many years of them not teaching his dances in Israel. There were workshops for new dances, and they refused to put in dances that were made abroad, so that people living abroad like Moshiko, Yisrael Yaakov, Shlomo Bachar, my father, Danny Uziel, couldn't make Israeli dances because they were living abroad. But when Ramot came out, there was so much pressure on the workshops that he finally asked me to come and teach the dance there. So I did, because everyone had been doing it. The whole country was doing it. But it wasn't legally an Israeli dance. That was the end of the boycott of the American Israeli choreographers.